online. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us for another session of our Hill Country Eclipse Lunch and Learns. We are so grateful and so lucky to have two wonderful experts in their community here to talk to us today about dealing and interacting and engaging hospitality and business areas. So we have Amanda Griffin, who's the president of Keep It Real Beautiful, and the Real County chapter of Keep Texas Beautiful. She also is one of the co-leads of Eclipse planning within Real County, has been working on that for quite some time now, presenting a series of community meetings, talking to commissioners' courts, city councils, bringing folks together, stakeholders in the game. And when she's not out educating on the mission of keeping Real County beautiful, she works as a water consultant for homeowners associations and properties who want to use less water. We could all use some lessons from that. And also Tony Guidroz, who wears so many hats, it's hard to keep track, Director of Community Development, Tourism, Marketing, Main Street, Visitor Center, and the Chamber of Commerce for the city of Llano. So we're going to get things started today. They're going to talk a little bit about engaging hospitality and businesses within their respective communities, and then we will open up to questions and conversation amongst the group. So Amanda, I am going to let you kick things off.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thanks, Dawn, for having me and calling me an expert. I feel so honored. I'm going to share my screen and show you guys a brief PowerPoint to go along with my talk, so you have something to look at. Let me look here. Okay. Oops. Are you seeing my screen yet?
Yes, you're good to go.
Wonderful. So my name is Amanda Griffin. I live in Real County, which is, I think, the second smallest county in Texas. I think Rockwall County is smaller, and then we're the second smallest. But we are a small rural community on the western frontier of the Hill Country. And I have been involved with Eclipse planning and preparation. So I wanted to take you guys through what we have done so far and encourage you in wherever you are in your preparations for the April eclipse. This is the title slide to our very first Eclipse planning meeting presentation. And I'm going to take you through some of the slides that we used for that and talk about how our process worked. This was the agenda for that very first meeting. I had learned about the eclipse from Dawn and from Hill Country Alliance, and my co-chair of the preparation effort, Patty Burke-Stresser, she's kind of our dark skies person for Keep It Real Beautiful. And so she knew about the eclipse, and we said, you know, we've really got to spread the word. So this was our agenda for our very first meeting. What is an eclipse and why are we talking so much about it? And then committees and volunteers, and then timeline and next steps. And it was a very simple agenda, and off we went. So a little bit about Real County. We are firmly in the crosshairs of the two eclipses that we had, October and upcoming in April. We're a very small, very rural, very remote community. Our industries are basically tourism and the outdoors. We have very little other development things going on in Real County because we're so far away. We really only have two what I would consider towns. We have a couple of incorporated neighborhoods also, but mainly we've got two communities, Campwood and Lakey. The great thing we have going for our county is we have two rivers running through Real County on the east and west, the Nueces River and the Frio River. And the community of Lakey and the community of Campwood are two very different, distinct communities. We're separated by a vast canyon and a very windy road between the two towns. So our communities have different needs. And so we, as the Keep It Real Beautiful group, really wanted to focus on providing information for everybody for everything. We have, multiple location campsite, luxury cabins down to, retired people that have lived in the county for generations and are unlimited incomes. So we wanted to make sure that everybody in the community, whether they wanted to make money from the eclipse or whether they just wanted to be prepared, had the information that they needed. Keep It Real Beautiful was established in 2014, and those are our, easy and small missions that are just so easy to accomplish. Just small things like dark skies and recycling, litter prevention, river preservation with 2 pristine rivers in some of the last of the pristine rivers in Texas. That's a big piece of our mission, and beautification. Our mission statement is to keep Real County beautiful day and night. So it really dovetailed nicely within our Dark Skies mission to take the lead on eclipse preparation. We had our first meeting on December the 6th, 2021, and I know some of the larger communities in the Hill Country began eclipse planning well in advance of that, but with us being so small and a 100% volunteer, we felt like we had a pretty good start on December the 6th, 2021. We had about 40 people in that first meeting, which is almost 20% of our, or almost 2% of our entire county population. So we were pretty proud of that. And it was an introductory meeting for most. Most people did not know that there was an eclipse happening until they heard about this meeting, and they did not know what it meant that there were 2 eclipses. And it was really an introductory meeting for most of the people in that came to that first meeting. So we reviewed the eclipse maps, which I'll show you in just a moment, and we introduced the Hill Country Alliance at that meeting, and we really depended on that Hill Country Alliance eclipse preparation information packet that Dawn put together. And I will tell you, it is worth its weight in gold. For a volunteer organization like ours, it was our structure, it was our guideline, it was our Bible for preparing for the eclipse. And it was a great chance for us to introduce Hill Country Alliance and what it does to our community. It was definitely an introduction to most people in Real County. They had not heard of Hill Country Alliance, and I talk about them all the time, so they've heard of them now. We reviewed our committees and made future plans for further meetings. Since that first meeting in 2021, through all of 2022, we had a meeting approximately quarterly. As we got closer to October, through 2022, I'm sorry, we had quarterly meetings. And then last year in 2023, we had 3 or 4 meetings before the October eclipse. So we reviewed this Texas 2-eclipse map. I thought it was a good, simple way to show people why it was such a big deal that, we're in that little overlapping area. And then I showed them specific maps that I just dropped little pins in the shape of hearts on Google to show them where the area of totality was in relationship to our 2 communities. So that will tell you guys kind of where we're located. We're just west of San Antonio. The yellow greenish heart is Lakey, and the blue heart, 1 canyon over, is Camp Wood. So we showed this map to show everybody how close we were to that center point for October. And then we showed them the April 8th map that showed how close we are again for the total eclipse. And that was really eye-opening because when we explained what it meant to be within that band of totality, the light bulbs began to come on for people. This was our next slide. Like, here you are, we're telling you what we've got coming up. What can we do about it? And again, I'll give big thanks to the Hill Country Alliance. We utilized their planning materials, and these were the committees recommended in those materials, and we just went through them one by one. I actually had additional slides on here for that first meeting that gave a little more detail about what could be included within each of these topics. So I know we don't need to review those today, but we did review them in that first meeting because, you know, as I read through those materials, light bulbs went on for me like, oh, wow, I didn't even think about, you know, trash. I didn't even think about porta potties and things like that. So we went through those same details within each committee at that first meeting to get people thinking about the eclipse and thinking about who else needed to be at a future meeting about the eclipse. I had attended one of the early lunch and learns where we talked to the city manager from Carbondale, Illinois, and I just kind of put a bunch of his recommendations on this slide, and we just went through them. It was a great kind of conversation starter, this little list of things. I went through them pretty quickly, and then people had immediate ideas to add to it or questions to ask. And, you know, the Curb took the position of, you know, we wanted to kind of be the bell ringer about the eclipse. We didn't want to be the eclipse police. So we wanted to let people know that the eclipse was coming and let people know things that they could do to prepare, but we didn't want to control what everybody was doing. We didn't want, you know, to be, you know, the eclipse police. So that's what we told everybody. We're coordinating people, we're bringing people together, we're educating people, but you don't have to tell us your ideas and you don't have to clear your plans through us. We just want you to have plans and we want you to make plans. So we shared this slide and it was really useful. I almost didn't include this slide because I was like, you know, it's not a very good slide. There's too much text, there's too many ideas, but it was a really great conversation starter and made people really start thinking about the eclipse. This is a slide that I used as well. And the reason I'm showing it to you is because I put the number of people to expect within a framework that most of the locals could understand. We have two big events in Real County. In July, we have the July Jubilee over in the Frio Canyon. And then in August, we have the Old Settlers Reunion in Nueces Canyon. Those are the two biggest attendance weekends in our county. And so I wanted to put, you know, what could we expect within those terms for people so they could think about. And I said, you know, what's the busiest, most crowded Old Settlers you can remember? It could be like that. What's the busiest, most crowded July Jubilee you can remember in recent history? It could be like that. You know, the other thing that we always were careful to do was say, you know, we don't really know how many people are going to be here. Not all the tens of thousands or hundred extra thousands people that are going to be in the hill country are going to be in our county, but there's going to be a lot of them, and they're going to arrive in various levels of preparation to be in our rural community. We don't have a major grocery store in our county. We have an H-E-B 45 minutes away in Uvalde, or a Lowe's grocery 45 minutes away in Rock Springs, both of which are in different counties from us. We have a small mercantile in Lakey, and our Get and Go gas station has a small grocery section in Camp Wood. So one concern that we had specific to our location is that people would come prepared. And if we were just inundated with people, you know, that we didn't have 3 or 4 groceries to fall back on, and gas stations as well. We have one gas station in Camp Wood, and we have, I think, 2 gas stations in Lakey. So we really talked about the logistics of things like that maybe our locals wouldn't necessarily think of. And then I moved over to this slide and said, okay, you're trapped here in this meeting. Now let's give you a job. So this is what we did next. We established point persons for each community. For each committee. Well, in some cases for each community too. Some committees had one county person, but then it made more sense on some communities to have a Nueces Canyon person and a Frio Canyon person, just because, you know, the needs are a little bit different, or we had people that were interested in doing, you know, their side of the canyon or the other. So we were flexible and just said yes, yes, yes to everyone. So if they wanted to take the whole job, great. If they wanted to take half the job, we said, come on in. So we did name some chairpersons or some potential chairpersons at that meeting. And then we set up our next meeting date, and we sent everyone home with the job of tell someone about the eclipse and tell someone about this committee, this effort to prepare. That was everyone's homework when we left that meeting. This is the last slide from that initial presentation. And one of the things that we did that has worked out really well is we established an independent Eclipse email for our group so that it was easy to remember and people could share it. And if people had questions about the Eclipse, they could email it. If they wanted to be included in our distribution list, they could email us. It was really easy to add their contacts into that address book. For that specific email. So we've succeeded in assembling a really nice contact group and a master contact list utilizing that email account. So I definitely recommend doing that. That's definitely something that worked for us. The other thing we did is make a Real County Eclipse website, which I'll talk about in just a minute. Okay, once we had that first meeting, we did it over and over and over. And I know, Dawn was mentioning when we were getting ready to start the call how, it's surprising to her that she still finds people that are like, what's going on with the eclipse? I found that out every single time, even up to the very last meeting before the October eclipse, the September meeting. We had people brand new come to the meeting, say, oh yeah, I heard about that, or I saw your ad in the paper and I was wondering what's going on with the eclipse. So as coordinators and leaders in the community, you feel like a broken record. You feel like, oh, surely everyone's just ad nauseum. They're tired of hearing about this from me. But that's not true. You're only sick of yourself. And I feel that way in my day job too. I feel like I'm just talking about water and talking about water, but every time somebody new is there and they learn something new. So even though you feel like a broken record, we went through the basics of Eclipse at every meeting. Now, some meetings, it was mostly repeat attendees, and we could do that really quick and move on to, more committee things. But most meetings, we had brand new people that had just heard about the eclipses for the first time. So it was really handy to have this PowerPoint. I could just, reuse it every single time. So that was really helpful. And so we rinsed and repeated. We had quarterly meetings all through 2022 and a little closer together than quarterly in 2023. Every time our homework to all the attendees was tell somebody. And that very first meeting, I said, tell your county commissioner, tell the judge, tell the sheriff, hey, have you heard about the eclipse? Because at the beginning, we didn't have a whole lot of attendance from the powers that be. They very quickly got on board and started having preparation meetings. But from the very first, I said, tell somebody, tell your kid's teacher, tell somebody that can tell other people. And that was word of mouth was really helpful in getting the word out. So that was always our homework directive, was tell somebody and tell them to send us an email at Real County Eclipse. I put together a list of things that I feel like really worked for us. Now, I will say the caveat that I know every community is different, and our community is very small. We're rather remote. We're about 2.5 hours from San Antonio. So I recognize that we're kind of on the outer edge of those concentric circles. San Antonio is going to get busy. Kerrville's going to get busy. All those inner hill country communities are going to book out, and then people will move out towards us. Our hope was just that people would come, have a good experience during the eclipse, and then want to come back on another weekend to visit our stores and our lodging areas in Frio and Oasis Canyons. But these are the things that we did that we're really proud of that seemed to really work out. We had a volunteer create a custom logo for us, and oh my goodness, why didn't I put it on here? It's so cool. And we created that logo. A volunteer laid out the general design, and then we had a professional designer donate her time to kind of gloss it up for us. It's awesome. It says Real County Eclipse. It has Campwood and Lakey at the bottom. Has a great logo bug on it, and we gave that logo away for free. Anybody that wanted to make something with our Real County logo on it, we let them use it. I've emailed the files out to numerous people, and they put them on T-shirts and hats, and one of the garden club ladies made me a tote with our logo on it. It's just really cool. That's been a fun thing to share and to have together with everybody. We did order custom Eclipse glasses with our custom logo on it, and those have been wonderful. They're very inexpensive. We were able to order, I think we ordered 10,000 in the beginning, and we, definitely made our money back on them. It was kind of a gulp for a small volunteer organization like us to outlay that money, but we have sold them. Stores bought them in bulk to sell and or give away to their customers, and it has been a really neat way to just talk to people about the Eclipse, because the Eclipse glasses looked awesome, and it was real easy to just go into a business with a pair of Eclipse glasses and go, hey, did you know about the Eclipse? And leave that with them. It's an interesting thing. A piece of paper or a flyer is going to get lost on their desk, but this little Eclipse glasses is going to float to the top, and they are going to remember it. We had a local woman, a longtime mohair artist, Dolores, create capes with our logo on the back. We're giving one of them away as the Chamber of Commerce in Nueces Canyon. So that was a cool thing. But just to see the local artisans and store owners utilize the logo and begin to make things that talked about the Eclipse was really special. Our specific Eclipse email, sorry, that's my kitty playing in the background. Our email was useful. It kind of separated our Eclipse work from our other curb work, so it was easy to keep ourselves organized. And then we also bought the website, and I see that I miskeyed it. It's therealeclipse.org. I believe therealeclipse.com takes you to the same location, but we advertised it as therealeclipse.org. And in my pre-coffee stupor this morning, I typed the wrong thing. But I don't know about you guys, but we had terrible, terrible wind all night long, and it kept me up all night. I mean, it was like, I felt like Dorothy on The Wizard of Oz. So I got up early this morning and looked this over. It should say therealeclipse.org. But that was a great thing for us to talk to local people about as well. We made little posters and hung them up around town that said, go to therealeclipse.org. We let store owners list their store or their lodging locations for prospective visitors to take a look at. And it's been really helpful. It's just kind of a central place to drive people to for more Eclipse information. We linked back to the Hill Country Alliance on that page and some other Eclipse resources. It just helped us to be able to just tell people to go to that one spot. And we made some specific sections on that website for locals, for locals that wanted to participate in the Eclipse and for locals that didn't want to participate in the Eclipse, for businesses, to prepare, for restaurants, all those different committees. We have information on there. We're going to maintain that website and keep adding to it through the April Eclipse. So, you're welcome to look at that or use it as a resource, or drive your website to ours if you want to use some of those resources. One of the biggest successes that we had through the course of this is our emergency preparedness group. There had originally been an emergency management committee previous to COVID in the county that had not met since before COVID. So the Eclipse was kind of the excuse to get that group back together. And it has since become super active, very inclusive. The volunteer fire departments, the EMS, the large camps in the canyons that have, potential emergency locations where people could go, or water supplies that people could use, emergency preparedness for all things and the Eclipse. It has worked out really, really well. that group got back together and started meeting on the regular. And their very first meeting was about the eclipse, and I went and said all the things that I've been saying at all of our other meetings. We definitely utilize Facebook. Curb has a Facebook page, and we try to post Eclipse stuff on there. We share Eclipse things, and our local paper has been a great resource. We have a standing ad space paid for there, and we've just been putting Eclipse stuff on it. If we don't have any news or anything new to share, we just put our Eclipse glasses order form in there. That just keeps it on everybody's mind in the community, and keeps the agenda moving forward. And then our Eclipse Contact Master, we got people to sign in at every meeting to make sure that we could get in touch with them in the future, ask them what committees they were interested in either helping with or getting information from. And that Contact Master, I think, is really going to suit our purposes ongoing even after the eclipse. I think Dawn wanted me to talk a little specifically about hospitality and lodging. I do own a small camp in Nueces Canyon together with my brothers. We sleep about 40. We have 8 units. It's very small. It's river frontage on the Nueces. And so I wasn't the lodging committee head, but I was involved. And most of the lodging places in Real County, their interest was, what is everybody doing on prices? What is everybody doing on minimum stays? They didn't want to, just jack the prices to the moon, but they also didn't want to miss out. It was kind of a balancing act, and everybody was wondering what everyone else was doing. So including that committee in our eclipse preparation was a great way to do it, not on anybody's turf. It was like neutral ground. Everyone could kind of come and say, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And most of our lodging places did 3-night minimums. They did have a special rate. October was lightly attended in Nueces Canyon. I think Frio Canyon was more fully booked, but we're anticipating being fully booked in both canyons for the April eclipse. And Frio is kind of the more popular and well-known canyon, and the Frio River is more popular and well-known. So that didn't hurt our feelings in Nueces Canyon. That's kind of how it always is. Frio will book out, and then people start looking beyond to Nueces. So a couple of things I want to share with you guys as potentially the leaders of your eclipse preparations is be the broken record. Don't be afraid to mention it to everyone you see, everyone in town. Every time I check out at the Get and Go, every time I check out at the dollar store, I mention the eclipse to people. And yes, I feel like a broken record, but I can't tell you 8 times out of 10, someone will go, what? Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know. And so, I send them to the website, and it's an easy way to just continue to get the word out. We varied our meeting location and times. We met in Frio Canyon and then Nueces Canyon, kind of back and forth to give people an opportunity to not have to drive too far to come to a meeting. We've tried to alternate those. And we just encouraged everyone to do what they wanted to do on it. If you want to make t-shirts, yes, make t-shirts. If you want to open up your pasture and to tent sites, yes. We've just said yes, let's to everything that anyone in the community has wanted to do. And what we have found is that we're building partnerships with people that are going to keep cool things happening in our community beyond the eclipse. They just needed an invitation to show up. And, Curb didn't want to be the eclipse police. I think I mentioned that before. We just wanted to kind of be the hub to go, oh, you're interested in doing that? Well, talk to so-and-so. They're interested in doing that. And so it's been kind of a bridge to bring our separate towns together and our different people that are in the towns that may not know everybody else. We have 2 distinct groups in our population. People that have been here forever and people who just arrived. And so they don't always know each other. And so this has been a really great way to bring people together, help them meet people in our community. And we're all just working towards the common good of being ready for the eclipse. So big thanks again to Hill Country Alliance for providing small volunteer organizations like us the structure that we needed to get started in Eclipse planning. We definitely utilized our Eclipse meetings. We took advantage of the fish in a barrel to educate them also on dark skies. And we're going to continue to do that because we definitely have our sights on building our county as a dark skies destination. We also utilized Eclipse meetings and Eclipse conversations to broaden awareness about CURB and our missions. And we have built partnerships and coalitions where they did not exist before. I've got the county judge, the sheriff, the emergency management coordinator for the county on speed dial on my phone. They call me, I call them. Business owners, know that CURB is leading the way, and so they come with questions. It's really been a wonderful experience for me as a co-coordinator of the effort to just really plug into the community in a way I hadn't before, and our community has risen to the challenge so far. So I'm excited about the April Eclipse, excited to see what additional preparations we do for our community between now and then. And we're just going to keep doing the good work of Keep It Real Beautiful through the Eclipse and beyond.
That's great, Amanda. Thank you so much. I'm so glad we record these because there's some really phenomenal gems in that presentation. I especially like the broken record aspect because we've been also engrossed in this eclipse. I feel like I'm talking about it ad nauseum, whereas people are like, oh no, tell me more. And you're like, really? Okay.
Yeah. Right.
I'm going to go ahead and say, let's hold questions. If you do have questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, we'll get to them after Tony. Take it away. Oh, you're muted, dear.
How about that?
Great, we can hear you.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you, Dawn. And Amanda, I absolutely loved your presentation. And we did so much of the same things. And of course, we have to thank, Hill Country Alliance and Dawn for all of that, just like you did. We've been having our meetings and we have a lot of great people on board. So you talked about all of the wonderful, and that's what we're looking for too. We want to make sure that we've given our businesses and our folks all the opportunities to capitalize on the wonderfulness of the eclipse and all the people coming to town. But I want to talk a little bit about some of the challenges in rural Texas, especially where we are here in Llano, Texas. So we have 67 events a year besides our annual farmers market that goes every first and third Saturday year round. We also do a thing called Junk in the Trunk, March through October, and it's every fourth Saturday. So we have a lot of events and a lot of people. I'm really glad I don't have to handle all those events. We have great organizations all around that do. But what we do have in our path of totality that not very many others may have is a 2-lane bridge running through our downtown, right over the Llano River. And that is a bit of a challenge for us, or should I say a very big challenge for us. So, we've been talking with all of our restaurateurs, and of course, all of our hospitality is completely booked and has been for quite a while. October, I was telling Dawn and Amanda that it was Llano Day at the State Fair of Texas. So we were there in the food and fiber tent, and I took like 800 pair of Eclipse glasses with us, and in an hour and a half they were gone. I mean, so many people, when they found out that we had them, they came, and then we had others that were still peering over to see if we had any more, but it was a great turnout, and just so much support, and people were excited about the Eclipse. So here in Llano, just like everywhere else, when it comes to numbers, it's completely speculative. We've had a great group. We have a wonderful group of people that are on board and fired up and ready to go. But there again, like I said, the bridge is such a big deal. Whenever we do have festivals like our annual Crawfish Festival or our Llano Earth Arts Festival, that bridge bottlenecks, and the static traffic on the bridge is kind of a little bit of a scary thing. I see Mike Albrecht there. Hey, Mike, and their crew. Mike, we wanted Mike to be a part of our deal. We'd actually submitted a grant to tech Main Street America, where we thought we might be able to throw some money at Mike, but that didn't happen. But anyways, so we had our first big town hall meeting last May, and we had Dawn come and present to everyone, and we had a lot of people on board. We have another one coming up February 20th at 5:30 at our Lantex Theater. Dawn's going to be a part of that as well. Like I was saying, we have no available lodging. Our site is Llano2024eclipse.com. Our county emergency management is in on everything. So is TDM, the Texas Division of Emergency Management. Some more of our challenges are, we have a 25-bed rural hospital. We also have limited law enforcement and first responders. We do have 300 porta potties and a bunch of hand washing stations, and a lot of yard dumpsters that we're placing in several different areas all around downtown. And then also we have two viewing areas that are for camping, that we're actually renting some spaces now for 3 nights maximum, because we do want to be able to reset our parks whenever we're done, and we do have a limited time to do that. And then we do have 3 viewing areas where it's open to the public, and we'll also have some medical teams that'll be on hand for that. So for us, the biggest thing is safety. That's what we're really concentrating on, not only for the people who are coming to Llano to view the eclipse, but for our locals that are already there. Hypothetically, if Mr. Johnson on the north end of the bridge has a heart issue all of a sudden, trying to get medical attention to him or get him to medical attention is one of our main concerns, and making sure that that bridge is cleared when there's an emergency vehicle that's coming through, and being able to have that type of communication. So when we're renting our spaces out, we've spoken to people from Nevada and Oregon and Maryland just the other day, Bethesda, that are coming. And I ask them, why Llano? And they say, well, we've kind of done our research, and Llano's going to have the highest visibility that day of anywhere. And that's why we want to be there. Then we get others that say, well, we're coming to Llano because you're not having a huge event. Well, I said the eclipse alone is a huge event. Yeah, we're not going to have a 2 or 3 day festival or concert with this many bands and all of that because of our bridge issue. So that's something that we have to be cognizant of. Our restaurants are going to be handing out some limited menus, so a lot of grab and goes. We have a lot of volunteers that will have potable water, drinking water for people. And as I said, there'll be medical teams with some triage tents set up in some different places. But for us, it's reminding our locals to get your groceries a couple of weeks ahead. It's not the pandemic. Don't go shopping for a month. Just shop for a week. Get fuel. Make sure your vehicles are full, that you also have some gas cans that are full as well. That's going to be the issue, because we are in a rural community, making sure that our resources are restocked whenever the eclipse is over and people kind of head back out to their respective homes. But we are doing all we can to be ready. That's the main thing, is over preparing here in Llano, Texas. But yeah, Amanda kind of stole the thunder with her presentation with a lot of things they're already doing, which is so great. But that's the same thing that we're kind of focusing on here in Llano, Texas. What I've heard from everyone is Llano is the place to be. Whenever we speak to people, we actually have a 3-person team of astronomers and scientists that are coming to broadcast in Llano from New Zealand in our Badu City Park. So we kind of did a broadcast with them while we were at the State Fair of Texas. There was a chance where we were on their television show where they were doing some streaming. And what we're telling our locals is, go out on the front porch and watch the eclipse. Don't come into town. Don't come into the viewing areas. Let that be for the people who are coming here to visit us. And because we do have a limited amount of freak out. Well, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And we have our plans in place. We're very fortunate and very blessed that we have people who care, and we're ready to go. But at the same time, safety is the biggest part for us, making sure that our local clinics are open for our locals should there be a need. We know that I love the part that she said that Amanda had in there that said, we are not the Eclipse police. That's what we do not want to be. We want to encourage people, and we have been encouraging people, all the landowners around the area. If you have something to rent, please do that. And if you want to make t-shirts, do that. We had some great artists that have created posters for us and logos for us, and we're using all of those. We're very fortunate that our board is on board, our council is on board, all of our city management is on board, and we're just excited. And but it is, um, as I'm sure for everybody, it's a nervous excitement. We are expectant, and at the same time, we're cautious, but we want to make sure that we're supplying everything that people need when they come here, and want to make our locals feel safe as well.
Thank you so much, Tony. Oh, such great information. And I think it's especially important that you two have been presenting today because, like so many within our Hill Country Eclipse team, a lot of our communities are very small. They don't have large numbers of lodging facilities, a lot of restaurants, a lot of businesses. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of kick off the questions with, and I'll let you two both answer. What, if any, interaction have you had with surrounding communities with regards to kind of keeping up to date on what their lodging accommodations are like or business interaction? Because invariably, you're going to, like you said, Tony, Llano is sold out.
Right.
So obviously that hospitality aspect you have to take into consideration with so many folks expecting to come in, with Llano being identified as such a hot spot.
Well, Castell is also sold out, and so is Tao, and so is Kingsland, and all of the surrounding areas where we are. Now, there are people that are staying as far as Junction and driving in and things of that nature that we've been talking to a lot of people. So some people are staying in San Saba and then driving to Llano, staying in Brownwood and driving to Llano. So all of those outlying areas we have been in contact with, and just asking if there's anything that we can do or information that we can provide. And certainly we've been trying to do that. But like you said, the rural communities, we're also taxed with, we only have 2 ambulances, and they're not parked in Llano. One's parked in Marble Falls and one's parked closer to San Saba, so it can serve that entire area. And whenever there is a call, then they are about 10 minutes out. However, traffic is a worry for us. I think, Dawn, we were talking, you said you were in the path of totality back in 2017, and you lived 200 miles from home, and it took you 9 hours to get there. So we're just trying to figure that out as well, and just going to take it as it comes. We pray that we trust God. We pray that we're going to have an amazing situation here in Llano, Texas. But on the other hand, we are somewhat concerned because we don't know what it's going to bring. It's completely speculative. Whenever I talk to emergency management, they're kind of like, yeah. We would love to have more communications on the bridge. We're going to have some walkie-talkies, some things of that nature that we can have as well, because cellular service could be disrupted, especially in our rural area, and when people show up. But yeah, lodging, we've been talking to other areas, and they're booked up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As far as Real County goes, in the Frio Canyon in particular, well, another thing that's unique about our county is we're kind of, I refer to them as a vertical communities, because we are as connected and cooperative with the counties to our north and to our south that share our river canyon as we are with each other within Real County. So Frio Canyon, leads right into Uvalde County, which has a much bigger tourism. They have an actual paid staff, a tourism visitor center, and they have a lot more resources than Real County does. So we've invited them to our meetings and had people come to both meetings. And so I know that there's a lot of cross-pollination between a lot of the camps that are along that county line over in Frio. I think a lot of places in the Frio Canyon are booked up 100% or close to it. for April. We have asked the lodging people to let us know when they're booked so we can mark that on our website. I don't know how many people have actually done that. And I don't know if that's because they just haven't thought to let us know or they're not 100% booked out yet. Our website is run by volunteers as well. So we kind of do what we can as we can do it. On the Oasis Canyon side, we work really closely with Edwards County to our north. Our school district is actually half in Real County and half in Edwards County. So there's a lot of overlap there. There's not very many. There's some lodging in Rock Springs, which is about 45 minutes to our north. And then there's a couple of little places in Barksdale, which is the town just over the county line in Edwards for us. So, we invited all of our peripheral neighbors to our efforts. Even though we're called Real County, I've opened it up to anybody from Uvalde, from Barksdale, from Montel, those areas, because we are very collaborative with our north and south neighbors because of the way we're located. We're kind of a river community, and rivers know no county lines. So that's kind of our situation in Real County.
Excellent. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Feel free to either raise your hand or mute yourself or type it in the chat.
This is Mike. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Mike. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Good. Great presentation. Thank you. Tony, I just wanted to comment. You had talked about the contract or the grant and all that. I'm still available to do slideshows at the Lantex, like Friday and Saturday. I'd
love to have you.
Okay, good. Yeah, I've got a good Eclipse slideshow. Happy to do that. It looks like I'm getting involved with a group out at the Austin Gun Club out in far north Burnett County. They're having a big gig out there on Sunday, Monday. So I think they brought me in to help with the viewing organization out there. So things are still a little iffy there, but Friday and Saturday I'd be available to do slideshows if you're interested.
Great. I'll be in touch. Most definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Pro bono too. I mean, because I know you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's huge. We'll feed you. Okay. Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
All right.
We have been
Awesome.
also renting spaces at our airport for planes to fly in. And we do have, I would say, probably about 60 available camping spaces at our Badoo City Park still. So we're trying to be somewhat inventive in helping other people be able to come and spend more time. And then I would think we're very affordable in those camping spaces, like $250 for a 3-night stay, 30 by 30 space for you to pull in and out of. And it's right next to downtown. So that's a wonderful thing. And it's on the Llano River. You can bring your fishing poles. You can come fish if you want. You can do, whatever you like out there. We're just concerned about safety. That's our biggest thing. We want this to be an absolutely wonderful experience for everyone who's coming to town. But we definitely want to take care of our locals.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Any other questions from any folks? Oh, Lisa's asking, do you still have camping spots in your parks? I think you mentioned 60 spots at Badoo. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Excellent.
And then we're going to use 3 of the other parks. The John L. Kirkendall Arena area, and also Grinwelge Park and Robinson Park as viewing areas that people can just come out for free on the day of and be able to see. And we'll have porta potties stationed there, and dumpsters for trash, and hand washing stations that they can get to as well.
Excellent.
Would
Blair.
you mind, this
Go
is
ahead.
Blair Manning from Burnett County. What do you mean by washing stations? Would you elaborate a little bit on that?
Well, more than anything, they're just hand sanitizing stations. They'll be strategically placed in between the porta potties.
Okay.
Yes. So there where people can actually just use hand sanitizer. I wish it would be water that they could use, but that would be hard to service and refill and do all of that. And we just
Right. Yes.
our volunteers are limited. And I have to say, go Burnet. What a great effort out there in Burnet, Texas. And we love our neighbors there.
Oh,
And
well, thank you, Tony. We appreciate that. So that kind of leads me to my next question. And Amanda, I feel like you a little bit touched on it in your presentation. I was visiting with our sheriff and our emergency management coordinator this morning. We're all sort of feeling like, there was kind of a lull around the holidays, and then we were all excited to amp back up around January. And now a lot of people are coming to me and asking me questions. I don't have new information for them. And so I feel like I've just been a consistent broken record. So that's what I was just going to ask y'all as a whole is there new information y'all feel like you're giving out, or are you just being completely redundant at this point, hoping that as many people as can will latch on to the information that you're giving?
Well, I feel like we're giving the same information. The adjustment and message for me going forward to the April eclipse is, hey, I know October wasn't this, huge crowd, but that doesn't mean we don't need to prepare for April. And that's probably going to be the biggest message for us because, like I said, we're the kind of the western frontier of the hill country, so we're kind of the last to fill up. And October was pretty full, I think, in some areas of Uvalde County and maybe South Frio Canyon, but for Nueces Canyon in particular, nobody was full. Nobody was booked out. So I don't want that to lull people into a false sense of security for April and then have them fail to prepare. Same with the locals. I don't want people to go, nobody was really here, and not go get their groceries early or fill up their car early in the week, just in case. We're like Tony talked a lot about the logistics of their town. Both of our towns have, a 2-lane highway. Almost one way in, one way out, really, for any major thoroughfare in Camp Wood and Lakey. So, if we were to have a car accident or something that would block traffic or just a lot of traffic, it wouldn't take much to really slow things down. Not only that, but our EMS and fire departments are both fully volunteer. We don't have any paid fire department or hospital ambulance. So they're preparing and trying to do as much as they can on their shoestring budgets and skeletal staff crews. So that's really it. More of the same, and just stressing that April is a much bigger deal than October. I think that's kind of our new part of our message.
And we've been that broken record too. And I think, we are given the same information over and over again, but that's the information that we have at this point. And, you were talking about a 2-lane road. And if we had an accident, well, we're talking about that 2-lane bridge. And I'll be working for the city of Llano. It'll be 5 years this March 11th. And in the whole time that I've been here, we have not had an accident on that bridge, but there's not a divider in those lanes. So should we have a accident on that bridge, it will be a really big deal for us. So we're just going to keep our prayers going up, and that we don't have that type of situation, because the out on that bridge, if you have an accident, is I don't even want to think about it. Yeah.
Right. Okay, awesome. I appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Yes, ma'am.
One question I've had, and I love that you touched a little bit on, Tony, on what your restaurants are doing as far as having a lot of to-go items, restricted menu. What, if anything, have your businesses prepared for with regards to transactions? Because we know that, especially in our more rural communities, self-service is going to be taxed. Using things like Square or anything that connects to the internet is a challenge. Are you preparing your businesses for that?
Well, in Llano, cash is still king. But on the other side of that, we don't know. We're working with Bandera Electric Cooperative to help us with some boosters in the area to try to boost our cell signal or our Wi-Fi signal, and what we can do there. Again, it's going to be a wait and see. Our restaurants are excited, but they understand that there will be some challenges. So it's totally, completely speculative. You know, I get these groups that want me to come and talk to them, and I feel like, you know, I can tell you so much and what we're doing, but in the end, it's, you know, I can answer just so much for you because no, I don't know how many people are coming. Look, whenever we first started the conversation, Dawn, what maybe, I don't know, 2.5 years ago or more, it was, you know, 80 to 100,000 people in Llano proper. You know, then it was like, well, 30,000 people in Llano proper. Then the last time we spoke, I guess to anybody that I spoke to that had some knowledge said, well, you could expect 3 times your population. Okay, so that's more around a 15,000, but in the end, nobody really knows. You're not going to know until the weekend of, you know, and what we're working on right now too is having our kind of our prepared readiness groups, if you will, at these certain stations and at these stations, and having our churches open up for some people who may need to do a little more triage. You know, our emergency management, I guess they kind of came up with a deal a while back where they said, look, if we got, you know, 30,000 people coming to town, at least 500 of those might be idiots, you know, and we can't control that, right? You know, we can't babysit everybody. So we're hoping that they're coming with some sense of preparedness, you know, that they've also, you know, that they've packed everything that they need, or we can, you know, give them stuff. The Llano River, where they'll be able to view. We're praying that they don't go into the river, you know, maybe to swim. But if something happens and we have an event, if you have a tributary and people go swim in it, you know, we're doing a lot of praying is what I can say. But we're trying to be as prepared as possible. Yeah.
The best you can do.
Best we can. Yeah. But the restaurants are doing what they can in that area. Amanda, have your restaurants talked about a plan of action when it comes to pay?
Well, we haven't spoken specifically about pay, although we have encouraged our restaurants to put any kind of details like that on their ad on the Eclipse webpage. We do have a restaurant in Camp Wood that only takes cash all the time, not just during the eclipse. So, you know, I put that on my, you know, prepare for your visit bullet list on that website, just so that people could be ready. Also in Real County, we have very, very poor cell service. If you don't have AT&T or Cricket Wireless, you probably can't make a call, and your GPS may not even work. So those are the things that we're also including on our webpage. Like, you know, you might print your map out of where you're going, or, you know, think about having a burner phone that's AT&T, or, you know, just have a plan. Not because it's a huge deal, except people, if they're not prepared for that and their phone doesn't work, people really freak out. And that's what I've shared with the locals, I think, is, you know, let's be as prepared as we can be, and then be ready to just give grace to people that come that may not know that their Sprint phone is not going to work and may need directions. And, you know, our goal is let them come, let them have a wonderful time, send them home happy so that they'll want to come back. And so we've really tried to give that message to locals, especially, of sharing grace with everybody that comes, because, you know, big city folks, they come out there and their phone doesn't work, and it's really disconcerting to them. And so, you know, we still have a couple of payphones in Real County, so we've got those listed on the website where they are. So, you know, those kinds of things that people don't necessarily think about. And if you combine that situation with, you know, 30-40% more people than you usually have in your town, then, you know, it could definitely become, you know, a challenge. The other challenge with us, maybe different than Llano, is we're so far out and we're so small and we're so remote. We're not hitting the criteria for extra cell towers and things like that. And now our judge has done a really good job. She got porta potties for each of our towns in Real County for April, and she's rented some additional haul off dumpsters for, you know, just trash. So, you know, those kinds of preparations have been made as a result of our meetings, and, you know, bringing it up and talking about it. So, like I say, every community is going to have those unique needs, but you know, we're just encouraging the locals to embrace it and have fun. Be prepared as you can, so that you aren't sharing in that panic when we have those people that decide on, you know, April 8th that morning, oh, hey, let's drive out to Real County. You know, that we may have those folks that come completely unprepared and think, oh, it's so far out, there's bound to be a room, you know. So we're preparing for that as well.
Yeah, we want to love on
Well,
everybody as hard as we can over here in Llano, Texas, too, and make them feel like they're one of us. But at the same time, we're praying they come prepared.
well, that's all we can hope for. And I mean, from everything that you guys have been speaking about and every interaction we've had, I mean, both Real County and the city of Llano area are definitely as prepared as I think anybody could expect, and then some. So I want to thank you both for sharing all of this information and for participating as our experts on this Lunch and Learn. Thank you so much for this valuable information. We will continue with the rest of the unknowns at our upcoming roundtable meeting and our last Lunch and Learn for this month. Our roundtable meeting will take place at noon next Tuesday, the 16th, with Jay Anderson, who's going to be talking about weather forecasts and how to best possibly prepare for that. He is a meteorologist out of Canada and has been putting together a tremendous amount of information and a lot of maps that you've already most likely seen. Our next Lunch and Learn will follow that with Paul Ura, who is a warning coordination meteorologist for the National Weather Service, and we'll be talking about weather from a standpoint of it being much more localized to our hill country here. So stay tuned for those links and information. And again, thank you for participating in this Lunch and Learn. And we are at just one day under 3 months to go, folks.
Right.
Take care.
God bless.